A 3-year-old girl sat silently inside a roadside diner. Her eyes searched the room, her lips remained closed, and her tiny hand moved in a quiet signal only she seemed to know. Strangers came and went, oblivious to the silent plea for help, unfolding in front of them. No one noticed, except for one man. A former Marine, hardened by war but sharpened by instinct, caught what others missed. A subtle gesture, a quiet signal, a cry that carried no sound. What he did next would break the silence, expose a horrifying truth, and ultimately save a life. But here's the question. If you had been there, would you have recognized the signal? Before we continue, let us know where you're listening from, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. The late afternoon sun stained the Kansas horizon, in shades of amber and gold as Highway 400 hummed steadily outside Carolyn's roadside cafe. Inside, the air was still, interrupted only by the occasional clatter of cutlery or the low hum of an aging HVAC unit struggling against the chill. Daniel Hayes, a stoic ex-Marine with 18 years of service behind him, stepped in carrying a worn duffel bag. His very posture spoke without words, a spine too rigid, eyes too sharp, breath too controlled. He ordered a ham sandwich and a cup of black coffee he didn't really want. Habit, routine, it simply gave his hands something to do. Nearby, a little boy named Noah circled the room with a toy car, his laughter briefly lifting the heavy quiet. But Daniel's attention wasn't on him. It was fixed on a girl in the far corner, 3, maybe 4 years old. Curls framed her face, her pale blue dress soft against skin the color of warm earth. She sat beside a sharply dressed man with icy eyes and a gray suit. The man, Travis Mercer, never glanced at her, never touched her, never spoke. He sat buried in a thick book, as though she didn't exist. And that, Daniel knew, was wrong. No one brings a child to a roadside diner and treats her like luggage. The girl locked eyes with Daniel. Slowly she raised her hand, tiny fingers closing and opening 3 times. A silent SOS. Daniel kept watching. She did it again. Clear, intentional. Carolyn, the diner's owner, sturdy in her flower-streaked apron and weary eyes, set his plate down. Daniel asked quietly, "That little girl, has she eaten?" Carolyn frowned. "No. She's been sitting quiet as a mouse. Thought I heard her crying earlier, but I wasn't sure." Daniel nodded and went back to his seat. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a red candy, and walked toward the table. "She reminds me of my niece," he said to Travis. "Mind if I give her a candy?" Travis didn't look up. "She's allergic." But Daniel saw it. The way the girl flinched at his voice, fear rippling through her body. Then for the 3rd time she gave the signal. Back at the counter, Daniel leaned, close to Carolyn. "Call the sheriff, now!" Carolyn froze. "Are you sure?" "I'm a Marine," he said. "That girl gave a nonverbal SOS. Not once, 3 times. She didn't argue again. She dialed. On the other end, Chief Dana Wallace of Sedgwick County picked up. She listened carefully as Daniel took the phone. "Daniel Hayes, I can show military ID, suspected abduction. White male, blonde hair, gray suit. Girl, 3 years old, light brown skin, pale blue dress." Chief Wallace didn't hesitate. "We're on our way." Minutes ticked by. The diner returned to its uneasy stillness. Then the front door creaked. Travis rose, gripping the girl's wrist. "Let's go," he muttered. She didn't scream, only stared at Daniel, her eyes crying for help. Daniel stood, blocking the exit. "Taking her back to Iowa?" Travis's voice cut sharp. "Move!" "She doesn't want to go," Daniel said evenly, steady as stone. "Police are already coming. You leave now, it'll only get worse, for her and for you." "Don't do this." Travis's grip tightened, knuckles turning white. The girl whimpered, faint but piercing, a sound like glass cracking in the quiet. Suddenly, his other hand moved fast, ready to strike. But Daniel was faster. He caught Travis's wrist mid-swing. "That's enough," he said, his tone heavy with finality. In that instant, red and blue lights flashed through the diner windows. Tires screeched outside as a cruiser skidded to a halt, headlights cutting through the darkening. "Sky!" Officer Kevin Delgado entered first, Chief Wallace right behind. Their eyes scanned the room in seconds. "Sir, step away from the child." Travis hesitated, eyes darting from door to officers, calculating escape. Then he bolted. But Daniel blocked him, immovable, planted like stone. Chief Wallace advanced, hand resting on her sidearm. "Don't make this worse," she warned, calm but commanding. Amaya, in the chaos, stepped back, trembling but steady. She reached for Officer Delgado's outstretched hand. He didn't rush her. He kept his palm low and patient, like a dock, waiting for a drifting boat. At last, her tiny fingers wrapped around his. She held tight. For the first time since entering the diner, her body eased. She was safe. At the station, her mother Vanessa arrived breathless, eyes red with tears. "Amaya, it's Mommy!" she cried. But Amaya didn't run to her. She only stared, not with anger but with confusion, her gaze distant, walled off. Trauma had built a barrier that time alone could not tear down. Vanessa froze, arms faltering, as the weight of her daughter's silence sank in. Rachel, watching quietly, exchanged a look with Daniel, a look that said everything words could not. The reunion they had prayed for was not simple. Later that night, back at his motel, Daniel found a letter slipped beneath his door. The envelope was plain, his name scrawled in slanted handwriting. He opened it carefully. "You didn't just save Amaya. You saved me. I once thought about vanishing to protect her. I believed if I disappeared, he'd stop hurting her. That maybe if I became invisible, she'd have a better chance. But you stayed when no one else did. You stood when I couldn't. And because of that, we're both still here." The trial soon gripped Wichita, drawing not only local reporters but state media and advocacy groups who filled the courtroom benches. Travis's attorney, Scott Renair, a seasoned defense lawyer known for twisting narratives, claimed it was all a misunderstanding. He argued Travis had legal guardianship, that it was simply a messy custody case inflamed by a viral video and emotional accounts. But then Vanessa took the stand. "He isolated us, beat me, controlled everything," she said. "He cut me off from my friends, even my own mother. I wasn't allowed to speak unless he allowed it. And when I tried to leave, he threatened Amaya." The courtroom went still. Jurors leaned forward. Reporters stopped scribbling. Every ear listened. Daniel testified next. "I know the look of a child in danger. I've seen it in war zones. Amaya showed it with her eyes." The court reviewed a TikTok video captured by Brianna Miles the moment Daniel blocked the diner's door. The clip had gone viral, and now it shattered the defense. The judge denied bail without hesitation, citing the severity of the charges, the strength of evidence, and the risk of flight. Deputies clasped cold metal cuffs around Travis's wrists, locking them with deliberate finality. As he was led away, he ignored the judge, ignored his lawyer. But when he passed Daniel and Vanessa, his gaze lingered, bitter and defiant. Justice had only begun, but its first step had landed firm. Days later, Daniel sat on a park bench, preparing to leave town. Amaya sat beside him, quiet but watchful. She handed him a red candy. "Can you fly?" she asked. "No," he said with a small smile. "But I was fast enough to catch you." She smiled back, just a little. A few weeks later, Willow Haven Center opened in Wichita, a new children's shelter. A red coat hung neatly on a hook. Crayon drawings lined the walls. Rachel turned to Daniel. "Will you stay? Be our security advisor?" Not a soldier, just a guard at the door. Daniel didn't answer right away. Then Amaya appeared, pigtails bouncing with each determined step. She reached up and clasped his hand. "Just don't disappear," she whispered, her voice soft, but weighted with trust, a plea wrapped in hope. Daniel looked down at her, and for a moment, he didn't see headlines, courtrooms, or chaos. He saw a second chance. He didn't disappear. A single red candy, a trembling hand. One small act. It changed everything. And somewhere out there, another child waits to be noticed. Would you have recognized her silent signal? Sometimes being a hero means simply refusing to look away. Please share your thoughts in the comments below.